Well, good hump day afternoon, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Man, it's Wednesday, hump day, so I got to get over the hump, and that means I've got to go on Dan Selio show at 3:30. And, I'll be honest with you, man. I feel like I was set up last week. It's one thing to talk to Dan, who, of course, is the anti-Cowboy guy, even though Stephen Jones has been on his channel 4 times, and Michael Irvin is a friend of his, and The Rock and all that, Cowboys people, that he is an Eagles guy. What I noticed about Dan is Dan will trash the team. He'll tell you Jalen Hurts stinks and is nowhere near what Josh Allen is, right? And I was like, okay, I can deal with him. He's at least a rational Eagles fan. But when he got Philly 500 on the channel, I literally felt like, it was a tag team, and I didn't have a tag team partner. They literally did me dirty. I got the two of them jumping. And here's the funniest thing about Dan Selio. Dan's sitting here now defending the Eagles like crazy. It's like, wait a minute, dude. I'm a stealth watcher of your channel and things. I listen to you talk about how, this guy ain't fitting on there and that guy's not fitting in the change in philosophies and this guy's a bust and everything else. And Jalen Hurts is not a good quarterback and everything, and the contracts are going to explode. You have been Mr. Negativity. And here it is. You get your boy, my son, Philly 500, up on there. And then all of a sudden, it's nothing but love for the Eagles. I got nothing but love for you, honey. All this bullshit that you were talking before about them and trashing them, you put that shit away when it was just me. And you and Philly 500 did a hatchet job on me. That shit ain't fair. That shit ain't right. And I'm going to have a few things to say about that because, I thought we were actually going to be just here talking football, real football and stuff, what the people want to see. And y'all to turn this into WWE. So I'm feeling a certain kind of way, and I'm feeling kind of spicy this week because, see, I actually like what's going on right now. Here's the thing about the Cowboys that's kind of crazy. When you are expected to do great things, for some reason, it never happens. You think about when we were having the Super Bowl in Dallas. That was the first time you heard about, oh my God, the Cowboys could be the first team to play and host the Super Bowl. The expectations after the great season the year before were, they could be a Super Bowl contender. And actually it ended up being a pretender. That's the era that brought in Jason Garrett. When I think about 2014, the catch no catch away from being to the NFC Championship game. Everybody looked and said, "Oh my God, you got Tony Romo is in his strides and doing great things. Des Bryant is beasting. You had a great offensive line. The Cowboys, man, they're going to be hard to beat." And Tony Romo gets hurt, and we end up being 4-12, and somehow Jason Garrett keeps his job, even though they won one game without Tony Romo. So there's an old saying, expectation are the building blocks of resentment. And right now, to everybody but Vegas, the Dallas Cowboys are a joke. The Cowboys, they stink. They're terrible. They suck. They're not going to do anything. They haven't spent any money in free agency. They let go all these starters. I love it when people don't think that you're going to do anything. The one Super Bowl that the Eagles won, people don't remember They were in last place in the division that year. Carson Wentz, after his rookie season, looked like ass. And nobody thought jack about him. And more times than not, the thing that's funny is the expectations of the teams that we all think that, okay, you were good last year, so automatically you're going to take it to the next level the following year. Half of those teams will regress. Half of those teams that popped up there and gave you the hope and make you think that, oh my God, they're going to be a great team, they're not the next year. So keep that in mind. And another thing I will point to you as well with the Eagles. The Eagles have just as many coaching questions as we do. Nick Sirianni is on the hot seat. He is on the hot seat. They literally did the Jason Garrett to him. They took the play calling duties away from him, and basically, you're the head coach. Now go sit your ass down in the corner. You're changing offense and defensive coordinators again, which means you're changing philosophies and putting people in different positions than they were before. And usually there's a learning curve. And there's a thing about teams that go to the Super Bowl and lose. I need to go back and look at my numbers and probably go back through and adjust them for the last couple. But you'll remember, like the Carolina Panthers that were 15-1 and went to the Super Bowl and lost to Denver. They just kept going downhill to nothingness. You think about the Atlanta Falcons, who ended up losing to New England. They ended up going right down the toilet. You just look at, team after team that 2-3 years away from being in that Super Bowl, usually they are not anywhere close to where they were that year. So you've got all of these things that are going against the Eagles, all these question marks and things. 2 rookies that may be starting cornerbacks. I'm not going to be the one that says that the Eagles should be all high and mighty, that they should be pounding their chest after losing 6 or 7 games. Yes, we as Cowboys, we have some issues. And I dare say, I was going to do my morning video about this, and I probably will after I go. I got to go to the dump because we're actually going back home tomorrow, and I need to get rid of all this stuff on here so I can get my tools on to get ready for my trip to Vermont. I can't believe that that's just a few days away. But Mike Zimmer, see, Dan Quinn is that grandfather that, whenever you come to his house and stuff, he's going to give you a few dollars and don't tell your parents I gave it to you, They're your best buddy and stuff right there, okay? Now, I had the grandfather who was a Marine in the South Pacific. And see, when you'd see him, he used to drink Virginia Gentleman, and then he switched to Jack Daniels, and he just turned that bottle up. And when I would see him, he'd be like, "Boy, I'm gonna kill you!" And he'd grab you. He had these big hands, and he'd just grab you by the chest and just pick you up. He's playing with you. But he was that one that you were scared of. I used to be like, "Ah!" and run away, right? And I feel like that's the difference between Mike Zimmer and Dan Quinn. Too many times with the Cowboys, players make boneheaded mistakes, and it's almost like the attitude that we have with like Jason Garrett and society in general, where they say, "It's okay, Johnny. We'll get him next time, man. Don't worry. Keep your head up." Screw that. I want to see some accountability. And Mike Zimmer, who's not a huge man, kind of puts that fear into you. And maybe that's what they need, is a good kick in the ass. So I'm going to bring it a little bit more today. And I'm going to let Dan know that, I didn't appreciate you tag teaming me with Philly 500 and shit. I don't appreciate that. Anyway, I'll see you guys at 3:30. Go over here to the dump and get rid of the trash and the vines and all that stuff, and get back over to the house and get these shutters put up on the front and try and keep making that place look good. And let me also say, shout out. We already have a couple of people who have donated money to get a brick. I'll do a video on that later on when I get everybody's names and things, but have donated to our brick campaign where we're working on getting the red brick house put in the National Registry of Historic Places. I appreciate that, and can't wait to get started working on the brick walkway. All right, good people. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you soon.